And we're not sharing sound, guys. Stop sharing.
No sound.
Okay. Well, that was on me.
What? Didn't hear a thing.
On me. That's right. You didn't hear a thing.
Are we on or?
You're on. We're on. You on? Yep.
Oh, well then.
We're here.
Hello.
Get everybody turn on their closed captioning.
We don't need to do that, I don't think. We'll make sure we share next time with the sound on. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be a sound investment.
Shut up.
One of these nights.
I'm on my last auditory nerve.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year to everybody out there. Welcome back to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Outreach, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, Astronomy Edutainment, actually. First show of the year here for everybody. My name is Chris Corwin. I'm the creator of the social media channels known as Astronomy by the Bay. I'm also an amateur astronomer and a member of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada.
Yay.
I'd like to welcome back my two regular co-hosts, first of all, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moon Shadow Observatory in beautiful Hampton. Paul, good evening, sir.
I was in the path
You were.
last year.
And Mr. Mike Powell from the PFO Observatory in St. John. Mike.
I missed the path.
Who's behind you?
Yeah,
And,
always.
I'd like to welcome all of you tonight from YouTube and Facebook land for joining us. Thanks so much for your support. Okay, now on tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. Now, do you remember looking through a Viewmaster when you were a kid? I do. And
Yep.
I remember being amazed at those two-dimensional images coming to life through those special toys that we had. But how does that childhood memory relate to space? Well, just let me find page 2 here. Here it is. Quote, stereoscopy. I always see stereoscopy. Stereoscopy is a technique that creates the illusion of depth in two-dimensional images, states Lisa Vanning, our friend, fellow RAS member and creator of the Facebook page, Lisa's Look Up Astronomy and More. Now, tonight, Lisa joins us from New Jersey to show us how astronomers use this technique in space exploration and discovery. Now, Lisa has joined us on past episodes, and we're more than happy, very thrilled to have her back on the show with us tonight. Welcome back, Lisa.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
New
Year.
Year.
Okay, also tonight, Vinyl Bud will return with another fine binocular target to enjoy. Paul will be delivering another interesting Rosanna's fun fact. I'll have a quick look at some upcoming celestial events. Actually, I'm going to pass on that part because I have a lot of photos to share tonight, which is really nice. So we're going to get started then tonight with tonight's program and to look at stereoscopy, and its use in space exploration. Lisa, take it away.
Yeah, I have to practice the word too. Don't feel Alrighty, can you see that?
Yes.
All right, so seeing double. I took a little liberty here with the title because if you're doing stereoscopy right, you don't see double. You actually see one image. So as Chris alluded to, if you've looked through a Viewmaster, you have experienced stereoscopy. I think many of us have had that experience. That certainly was my foray into stereoscopy. My parents' 1958 wedding photos were also shot in stereo, so they had this neat little gadget and lots of little stereo slides that you put in this gadget, and you can see their wedding in 3D. So I stumbled on DIY stereoscopy when I was following Queen guitarist Sir Brian May on Instagram back in 2018. And he was actually teaching, like, you could go out, there are apps, you can go out and create your own stereo images. And I started having fun with that. So in early 2020, Rob, my husband, Rob and I set out to bring extinct birds to life. We were traveling all over, taking images of extinct birds to bring them to life, to try to, imagine what they would look like if they were still with us. So that was how Project Extinct was born, and that was featured in ABA's Birding magazine. Well, the pandemic came and shut that down. And then Brian May and his London stereoscopic company, LSC, they issued challenges to photographers of all skills to capture their world. So they would share those on Facebook and their website gallery. And then, much to my surprise, I was approached by London Stereo to use a photo of the cicada that you see there on the bottom right-hand corner there. That was one of those Brood X cicadas that come out every 17 years. That was taken in Princeton, New Jersey. So that was a newly emerged cicada. And my stereo photo was featured in Stereoscopy is Good for You, Life in 3D, which was published by Sir Brian May. So it's been a fun little journey. But let's talk about what stereoscopy is. So stereoscopy is a pair of images showing the same object. The images are shown at slightly different angles, and the angles correspond to the lines of vision with the two eyes, or binocular vision. And they're presented to the brain and combined into one when they come together, like how your eyes work. The difference in the two images are translated as depth, and that presents the image in 3D. The word itself comes from two Greek words, stereos, which means firm and solid, and scopio, which means to look or to see. So astronomers use the term parallax, of course, to describe how the calculation of movement of a celestial body it takes place when you take one image and then a second image. You can calculate the movement of that image. In stereoscopy, parallax is the apparent displacement or the difference in apparent direction as seen from two different points, not on a straight line with the object. And I put the little eyes and the hands, because we all remember as a kid, we would close our eyes and watch our thumb wiggle around as we closed one eye. And then when we opened both our eyes, we could see our thumb in 3D. So there are several ways that you can view in stereo. Some people are able to do something called free viewing. I am not one of those people. There are two different ways in free viewing. You can parallel view, where you relax your eyes and look straight at the image. Left eye sees the left image, right eye sees the right image. Or you can cross eye, which gives me a headache, where your left eye is looking over at the right image and vice versa. And this actually, for some people, results in the ability to see something in 3D. Not for me, results in a headache. So I cheat, and I use something called the stereoscopic viewer. This is a representation of many of the different kinds that were available throughout history. Starting from the Victorian era on the left, you see some of the from the 1800s. Some of these you may see if you go to a historical house. A lot of times they were very commonly found in parlors for entertainment. People would have stereo cards of different places all around the world. And then the second to last one that's along the lines of what my parents had for their wedding photos back in the 50s. That's stereo realist. And it was some of them were cardboard, others were plastic. And then on the right, these are modern times. So if you'd like to try this, I recommend checking out London's Stereoscopic Company. It's also available on Amazon, not sponsored. And it's called the Owl. So Sir Brian May has patented the Owl and the Light Owl as portable stereo viewers for today, for modern times. So you can actually enjoy stereoscopy in three different ways. You can view already existing stereos. You can pair existing images. I like to call them finding pairs in the wild, or take your own stereo pairs. If you want to view already existing stereos, you could go out on eBay. I have collected some of these throughout the years myself. These are antique stereo cards. You do want to read the fine print, so if you would like to collect them for their antiquity, make sure that you are getting authentic antique cards, because sometimes the sellers will actually create replicas of the antique cards, and you're only buying a replica, which is fine. They work the same, but you just want to know what you're buying and what you're paying for. Then on the right side, that's an example of what London Stereo puts out. They have a space series. Those are typically sold out, but you can find them on sites like eBay or Etsy, and they're fun to look at too. There's also a lot of really good space stereo books you may want to check out. So London Stereo has put together 3 of the 4 that I've pictured here. Mission Moon 3D, which talks about the space race. Cosmic Clouds 3D, and Bennu 3D, which talks about the asteroid Bennu 3D. Very good books. The images are amazing. And then the one which is second from the right, Welcome to the Universe, it was actually produced by Neil deGrasse Tyson et al. And I'll give a shout out to Robert Vanderby, who is located here in New Jersey. He is on the faculty of Princeton, and he is also an active member of Princeton Astronomy Club. So I mentioned existing images and pairing them and finding them in the wild. That's a fun little thing that I like to do. Here's one example of a pair that I found. So Ralph is the robotic telescope that is based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, out of St. Mary's University. And this was an accidental stereo pair, as we call it. There were 2 independent observers, Quinn Smith and Dave Chapman. They both requested photographs taken of the comet back in let's see if I see the date here. This was comet C2021A1. So the images that you see here were taken 41 minutes apart. So the comet has moved. So if you take these 2 images, pair them together and align them, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a second, you can actually see 3D. You can see the comet pop. If you're lucky enough to free view, or lucky enough to cross-eye them, if you reverse them, you may be able to see that, but I have to do it in the viewer. Folks can also take their own stereo pairs. So there are 3D cameras that were produced. There aren't too many new ones around. This technology was more popular, I guess, in the up until the early 90s, I would say. So if you go on sites like eBay, you can sometimes find the Fujifilm FinePix Real 3D digital camera. So that has the 2 lenses, as you can see. So it takes the photos from the correct angles. And of course, with everything else in life, there's an app for that. So on the bottom left, I've represented some of the apps that you can download to your phones. I personally am a fan of the one that's shown on the right, i3D Steroid, and because I am an Apple user. And what this application does is it allows you to take a photo and then you shift. So that's why you see the girl doing what we call the cha-cha on the bottom right there. You do a shift, and then you take the second image, and that aligns it. So here is all about the cha-cha. If you want to use a single lens camera, you can do this and then pair the images. So you would start with the weight on your left foot, take your photo, and then lean. You shift your weight to the right foot and take the second photo. But you want to be sure not to change the angle of the camera. You want to make sure that you're keeping it straight and keeping the same distance, etc. So then once you have those images selected, you can then pair them up and adjust them, align them. There is a program called Stereo Photo Maker. It's freeware, so you would download that at the URL that I've listed there. I also sometimes just put them right into i3D Steroid, and that Stereoid, excuse me, and that helps you align them properly as well. So we're going to talk about a favorite topic of mine in general, and that's the moon. So the moon has long been a favorite subject. Victorian curiosity gave birth to a new way to view the moon. The gentleman pictured here is Warren de la Rue. He is the inventor of the incandescent light bulb, and he set out to take photos of the moon. And he learned that he could take photos, and we'll see the image that he took, one of many images that he paired. But he set out to take images using the moon at different times. So he was actually using libration, and we'll talk a little bit about that, to create that 3D effect. Because remember, it's proportional how much you would do that cha-cha, and there's no cha-cha big enough to be able to shift and take two pictures of the moon from Earth. So there is one of the images that he used. So that was using moons from two different time periods. So as I mentioned, you would just use libration to play that role. That's the wobble. So the moon is effectively doing the cha-cha for you in this case. So this was fun. During the pandemic, one of my internet friends, Chiara, she is in Italy, approached me, and she knew that I had kept a catalog of photos of the moon. And she said, I want to see if we can do this. So she took her catalog. I gave her access to my catalog of photos, and she was able to effectively find a pair that worked so that if you viewed this in a 3D viewer, you could see the moon in 3D. So using her photo from November of 2018 and mine from June of 2021 on the right, it's effectively the same phase and very close in illumination, and you can actually see the moon in 3D. So we talked about how you could DIY stereoscopy, but how is it used in space exploration? So when I set out to write this program, I learned that it goes much further back than I could have imagined. So stereoscopy was used as far back as the Apollo 11 mission and the other Apollo missions as well. Apollo 13, unfortunately, did not return any stereo photos. But there were stereo cameras on the lunar landers that photographed 3 by 3 inch of a patch of the lunar surface using ectochrome film. So back in those days, the film would have to be returned to Houston and processed, and then put together to create a stereo pair. So here is one example. So you can see it's not exactly the same picture, but when you align them, it does become a 3D photo of Buzz Aldrin carrying a package of one of the early Apollo scientific experiments. So pretty neat stuff. There is the Lunar Plume Surface Study that also has stereo cameras. So this was a mission that was launched back in February of last year, the 2024. And that was the mission that landed in the South Pole region of the moon in search of signs of water. Images from 4 different perspectives were taken. That's 2 stereo pairs to allow 3D models of the landing site to be made before and after landing. And the reason why they put these stereo cameras on there is to try to be key in helping plan the Artemis missions and learn from what it's like to land on the moon. So whenever those Artemis missions do happen, we have some learnings that came out of this scalp camera setup. Back in 2006, there was a solar observation. So this is the STEREO, which stands for Solar Terrestrial Relations Observatory. And they were 2 cameras, Stereo A and Stereo B, which was built by NASA's APL, where one spacecraft was ahead of the Earth's orbit and one is behind. And it allowed for captures of the 3D images of the sun because they were following different orbits. Unfortunately, Stereo B stopped working in September of 2014, although Stereo A camera remains operational, but we no longer have stereo pairs from this particular setup. So in the future, Europa Clipper has that one launched back in October of 2024, hoping to arrive at Jupiter, around Jupiter in 2030. The objective is to determine if Europa has conditions to support life, and a 3D imaging system is on board that mission as well, both a wide-angle camera and a narrow-angle camera. So hopefully some great 3D images to come out of that mission. And then Mars, everybody's always talking about Mars. So on the left, those are the Mars missions that NASA has launched that used stereo imaging, all the way from Pathfinder, which was the first one, down to Perseverance. And then the European Space Agency has their mission that is looking at Phobos and Deimos. And with the European Space Agency mission, about 90% of Mars' surface has been mapped to date using that setup. So, not just NASA, but more recently, so NASA. This is where, so pay attention, everybody, because there's a homework assignment at the end of this. More recently, NASA's rovers, so Perseverance, which is the one that's currently in operation, they do have several different stereo cameras with different views. There's a color navigation camera, they call that a nav cam, a hazard camera, which is a HazCam, a mast cam Z, which takes red, green, and blue. It also has ultraviolet and infrared, and pan cams, which view different waves of light. So the reason why I'm calling out the names of these cameras is you can actually go on NASA's website, and any of the photographs that NASA takes are stored on this website, and they're public domain. So you can do with them whatever you want as long as it's not for commercial use. And left and right cam images are available. So you can download these images, go through the gallery, download the images, and align them using some of those tools that I talked about previously. And it's really fun because it's really neat when those images pop and they come to life. So I definitely recommend checking it out, and you can be your own scientist at home and explore Mars. Thank you.
That is so cool.
Wow,
That's
these are
so
cool. Yeah. So if you do bring the two images together and align them in the software, what do you do with it then?
So then you would have either a digital image. Some people print them out and create their own 3D cards.
Okay.
Even if you view it on a phone, so that the owl that I showed you, that London Stereo puts together, it's a plastic viewer. You would slide your phone right into the back of it, and it has the two, it has the two lenses, and you can then change the distance until you see one image. And you can view it either on the phone, but I've also printed out like the image of the moon that Kiara and I put together. I actually made physical cards
Okay.
that go in the viewers as well.
So are they doing that for websites too now? Like, are they combining the images so that you can go on a website and take a look and see it as 3D or?
You would have to download them to just isolate the image itself, because if you're writing or whatever, it would throw off the
That's
to do it. But
some of the images I see on Facebook that people put up, and it says, "Guess what's here?" And you look at it for a while, and all of a sudden, this object pops out in 3D.
it comes together, yeah. I mean, at one time they were experimenting with 3D televisions. I never that's a little bit before my foray into DIY, but
That's so cool. The
Yeah.
detailing you must see extra when you're looking at stereo like that.
it's incredible. You just
Yeah.
see the whole the image just completely differently from just looking at it, a two-dimensional photo.
Yeah.
So if you're taking images, and I guess I'm going to relate this to the moon images that you and your friend both had, even though they're at different times and maybe even different phases, so one may be a little smaller than the other, that doesn't matter.
No, you want to capture it at about the same phase, so about the same illumination. But it's because you're taking it, in this case, it was different times of the year and from different locations. The
Right.
libration or the angle that the moon is shifting is what accounts for that parallax.
Yeah, but if one moon was further away from the Earth than the other, you wouldn't pick that up anyway. Even if you did, you could make the adjustment in editings to make them the same size if that was necessary.
Exactly. Those tools that align it would actually, make the image bigger, resize them,
Okay.
adjust the color. So you can do some processing there too.
Very cool.
No, it'd be interesting to see what they find out with the mission heading out to Jupiter or to Europa. That's amazing. Yeah.
Oh, did you get to talk to Brian May?
Yeah.
I did not talk to him, but I do have a signed contract with the two of us, with the two of our signatures that's framed.
Right on.
Awesome.
And he did,
Nice.
and he did send a copy of the book to anybody that was featured in the book, and he sent it with an autograph as well.
Awesome.
Right on.
Good for you.
That's amazing.
That's worth it.
It is. That's so
alone,
cool.
for sure. Yeah. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks very much for that.
Yeah. So when you going to England?
So when the book came out, I actually was invited to the book launch, but did not go. It was just at the tail end of the pandemic, and as some people know, I have some issues with travel, so I wasn't able.
Okay.
But yeah,
It
maybe
would be
someday.
nice, I guess, eh?
Maybe someday. He was there. He was at the launch, and I have friends that went and had a grand time. So
I bet you. Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Awesome, Lisa. Great topic. Thank you. Okay. Let's move on then from that to, and I got some comments here. Lisa's presentation was fascinating. Thank you, Lisa, from Denise. And Robert says, nice presentation. I enjoyed that. Anyway, let's move on then to a vinyl bud, I guess, next. Mike.
How bud. All righty. Should be coming up here. Binocular target of the week. This week by Bino Bud is the umbrella. Isn't that wonderful snow in New Brunswick? That's the kind of winter we've been having for photography. But anyway, this binocular asterism in Hydra looks just like it sounds, an umbrella. The umbrella is located between Cirrus, Procyon, and Alphard. Is that how you pronounce that? The Alpha Star in Hydra? Anyway, in the center of this circle is 6 Hydra. And once you locate this star, you can see the shape of an umbrella. The other bright star that you may see in that circle is 12 Hydra. Now, how do I find it in the sky? Well, if it was clear and you go out at 10:30 tonight from New Brunswick, orient yourself 130 degrees east-northeast, look up, and you will see the bright star Cirrus, there's Procyon, and there's Alphard. In Hydra, you draw a triangle between them, and if you drew a line across the bottom, about 2/3 of the way across, you're going to run into this 6 Alpha star, or Hydra 6, and that's going to be the star that has the umbrella. Again, you can draw that triangle if you like. An equilateral triangle will take you to that number 6 Hydra star, or if you go 2/3 of the way across, pop down, you will find it. What does it look like? Trust me, there you go. It's got a straight line across top and a little hook on the bottom. Looks like an umbrella that you hold. That's why they call it the umbrella. In 10x50 binoculars, it's a good sized target. Can't miss it. The bright stars, there's that 6 Alpha. The other bright star in the corner is 12. So if you find those two, you will find the umbrella. Compared to the full moon, she's got to be at least 3 full moons across. So it's a good sized target. Very easy to see. And are you ready for this one? I thought I would about studying astronomy at university, but I knew it would just be taking up space.
Oh.
R. That's binocular target of the week by Bino Bud.
Well, that target reminds me of the coat hanger.
Yes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I looked at it at first, I thought, that's the coat hanger. But isn't there also a question mark?
There is. Cosmic question mark.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite look as similar to the coat hanger as that one did, but
No, there's all kinds. There's
yeah. That's very cool.
just something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Paul, have you got a Rosanna's fun fact?
Dude.
Dum, 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 dum.
Long here.
Got to see Rosanna last night in person.
You did.
Yeah,
Yes.
every time I see her, I feel like I'm next to Wilson. She's a celebrity that you don't
She's our
see.
4th Musketeer, not on the show. Yeah.
Fourth Musketeer, that's right. Never to be seen. All right, let me share my screen. Okay. And this is tonight's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Hey, welcome back, Rosanna, for the first fun fact of 2025. And it does not disappoint, as none of hers do. So let's get right into it. So Rosanna writes, hi, Paul. By now, all the presents have been unwrapped and put away, and everyone is settling into January, the least favorite month for many. When looking up statistics for people's favorite months, I could also find polls that stated January was a favorite. So it just depends on who you ask. Now, let me just get that photo up here for you, and we'll get right into those. Photo. There we go. There we go. All right. So there are actually lots of cosmic related news to celebrate and look forward to in January 2025. Back in late December, scientists at CERN, CERN, released the news that evidence of a bizarre antimatter particle was seen. Definitely an exciting gift for under the most scientists' Christmas trees.
We're not seeing it, Paul. We're just seeing Rosanna's fun fact.
Oh, you're not sharing? Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me see what's happening here. Let me see. What do you see now? Just the big wristwatch?
Nope. Rosanna's fun fact. The video.
Fun fact.
Okay, hang on. Let me see what's going on here. Hold the boat. I can't move. There we go. I'm going to stop sharing just for a minute. And I'm going to pull that up over here. And I'm going to share that screen and screen tree. Share. You seeing it now?
Yep.
Yes, I see.
You see the green Christmas tree?
That's it. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Bubbles.
Yeah. All right, that's going to get that thing back. There we go. All right, so yeah, so there, just make sure that's going to work. Yes, it will, I can tell. So there are actually lots of cosmic related news to celebrate and look forward to in January 2025. Back in late December, scientists at CERN released the news that the evidence of a bizarre antimatter particle was seen. Definitely an exciting gift for under most scientists' Christmas trees. So what is the bizarre antimatter particle? So here is a screenshot of a newly submitted paper from ALICE, a Large Ion Collider Experiment. That's a neat way to say ALICE website. It has yet to be peer-reviewed. I gave up muddling through it, so it's a bit of a read. If Rosanna gives up on it, then it's a read. But it does announce evidence of anti-hyperhelium 4. As the name goes, it sounds more like something found in your favorite science fiction series rather than a lab. So what is anti-hyperhelium 4? So let's start, there we go. So let's start at the end of the word and work back. So, so you can see that, yeah, I can see it, there it is. So helium is the second lightest and second most abundant element in the universe, with the nucleus containing 2 protons and 2 neutrons surrounded by 2 electrons. As an extra fun fact concerning helium is, usually but not always, helium is atomic weight 4, but helium-3 exists, 2 protons, 1 neutron, and the moon is thought to be relatively rich in it, which could be a source of fusion fuel for future moon missions. Very interesting. So as far as we know, electrons are fundamental particles, meaning that they aren't composed of other smaller particles. So protons and neutrons are not each being made of 3 quarks. Protons have up to 2 quarks. Protons have 2 up quarks and 1 down quark. And neutrons are made up of 1 up and 2 downs. So, however, 4 other types of quarks exist. One of them is called a strange quark. I think they're a little strange. Strange quarks are different from down quarks because they have 25 times the mass of a down quark. And they also have strangeness. Strangeness, I keep strangeness. Strangeness is a resistance to decay against electromagnetism and strong force. So what do you get when you put a strange quark with 2 other quarks? You end up with a hyperon, or a hyperon. So there's different types of hyperons. Yeah, there's A, and then all the ones that goes through. So these hyperons are unstable, but they can live long enough to join protons and neutrons. Hyperhelium 4 would be made by 2 protons, 1 neutron, and 1 hyperon, known as lambda, which is made up of a quark an up quark, a down quark, and one strange quark. If all of this was not complicated enough, what researchers actually found evidence of in an experiment, not hyperhelium-4, but rather the decay products of its antimatter counterpart, anti-hyperhelium-4, which is made up of two antiprotons and an antineutron and an anti-lambda hyperon. This is the first evidence of the heaviest antimatter hypernucleus yet at the LHC, so it was a wow for all involved, even if most of the world is still puzzled out all up on the downs of the quark world. So what else is there in January worth toasting? So in the month of December, 4 more countries signed the Artemis Accords, the documents outlining principles for cooperation in the civil exploration and use of the moon, Mars, comets, and asteroids for peaceful purposes, bringing the total up to 52 countries. Canada was one of the original 10 countries to sign the newly created documents in 2020. Noticeably still missing are Russia, China, Iran, Iraq, etc., but let's not dwell on that. Perhaps 2025 will bring some surprise signatures. Also this month, social media is breathlessly announcing a rare lineup of the planets. And missing the point, as Earth Sky stated, planets in our solar system, when they are visible, are always in a line because they follow the path of the sun, the ecliptic, across our sky. On January 25th, here's what you're likely to see if clear skies prevail. Note that Uranus and Neptune will only be able to be viewed with an optical aid because you can't see those naked eye. Still a wonderful sight, but not quite what social media is promising. A fun project you can still be part of and will get you through the January blahs is tracking Mars' retrograde motion. Now, Mars entered retrograde or backward movement relative to its usual direction on December the 7th, 2024, and will continue throughout January into February 23rd, 2025. You can track the planet's progress by sketching or photographing Mars positions relative to the nearby stars on as many clear nights as possible. So even if your January ducks don't seem to be in a row, there's always something to look up for. Quark, quark. He spent the summer at a resort near CERN. And that is this week's. Ain't gonna happen now.
Bing, 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 bing.
There you go.
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
Hey, Rosanna, that's
That was
amazing.
quirky.
It's a quirky thing. It is
There was some
indeed.
quirky
That was
stuff
almost
in
as bad as
there.
Mike's.
And I was ready to get out my slide rule and my abacus. Wow, there's a lot of stuff going on out there, and the stuff you got to know. And as a scientist, yikes, right? So being an amateur is a lot less stress on the old.
Oh yeah,
On the
absolutely. Yeah. We
But
didn't-
anyway, Rosanna uses her brain for us, so thank you very much, Rosanna. Fantastic as usual.
Yes, thank you. Although I didn't understand half of it, but still thank you. I got the joke at the end though. That was good.
Yeah, quark.
Work. No, I mean she's right about the comments about the planet alignment. You know,
Yeah.
January 25th is a big day. We'll know what's happening right now. It's
We'll get
happening
pulled away
for
from the
a few
sun.
weeks, and
Yeah.
so
Well,
they're
the
not
media
all
like
going to
to
be in a straight
sensationalize.
line. You know, they're not all in a straight line. No, we don't see that happen very often.
Indeed.
Okay, let's get to some photos then. I got
All
a
right.
number of them to share here tonight. Do I have my screen going here? I can get this one. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, we gotta get some in-between music.
That's what we need. Excuse me. Okay. Let me get my notes up. There we are. And I'll share my screen. Gonna share this one. Think.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Hey, there we go. All right, photos. So first of all, I get this one from. So we're talking about Aurora a little bit over the last week or so, as we had a couple of CMEs that were directed in our direction. Also, a couple of what we call coronal holes right now, which are areas of the sun that are stripped back, I'll say, and they're allowing more solar wind out, more charged particles hitting in our direction. So as a result of that, some people have been seeing Aurora over the last week. So Jenny Boston got this one. Jenny Austin, she got some purple quispamsis. I've recently learned that it's best to catch them 45 minutes to an hour after sunset and use your phone on the camera setting to see them. So there you go. You got them, Jenny?
Yeah.
I'm going to go from there to this one from Krista Quinn. She says, beautiful in Bathurst. She said, my phone definitely does not do it justice, but I'd say it did pretty good.
It is beautiful in Bathurst. Yeah.
This one from Tara Dick. Am I seeing Aurora? She said, looking over the Lettet Ferry landing. I would say you were. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir.
What a beautiful night, she says.
Hello there.
Go here again to Michelle McCormick's capture from her backyard in Perth, Andover. Nice backyard.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are these a Christmas Eve one? That one?
This was 5 days ago, so I guess it would have been, yeah.
Christmas Eve, yeah.
So here's one here from Charity Lynn McDonald from Wickham, New Brunswick at around 10 o'clock. We got Sophie Legacy here from Beresford.
Oh, that's a
Nice shot
there.
there.
You got glow up there, yeah.
Yeah. Yvonne Rudiger's capture here from Richmond Corner at 10:20 p.m.
Wow, there's a spike.
Nice, huh?
Yeah. Nice bands. It just goes to show you how important it is to find the lowest horizon as possible, especially where we are, right?
Right, yeah. From there to Margie Jenkins capture here from Plaster Rock.
Nice.
That was taken with her Galaxy 24 S24 Ultra. Cool.
Phones are catching good shots.
They are. Nathan Benvotor, this one from Shediac area. I'm going to share another one here from Tammy Byron from Pokeshaw.
Nice, eh? You can really see the Big Dipper in that one.
Yeah, this is Brad Perry's capture from near Fredericton at around 7:30, you said?
Yeah, right on.
There's all your settings. Take a screen capture of that. You'll know your setting time. Thanks, Brad.
8 seconds, f1.4, ISO 1600. There you go for all those people who shoot it.
That's what you need.
That's awesome.
This is Carol Steert from Sussex area. Nice. Nicely done.
Sussex, wow.
Lots of red, eh? Lots of red in these ones.
There was a lot of red in it, yeah.
This one's from Becky Carr, some in St. Martin's area.
Oh.
Then Michelle Gerard, Memron Cook at 1:11 in the morning.
Wow, 11 in the 1 in the morning?
1:11 in the morning.
Okay.
Glenn Levitt from 1:40 a.m. in the backyard with my 9-year-old son.
Right on.
There you go. Happy New Year. That's
Nice.
perfect. Eh? What a nice shot.
Yeah.
What a nice capture that would be for a frame to frame it out.
Exactly.
Good stuff, Michael. Great to see your son out there with you. And another one here from Sue Gillespie, Lake Utopia.
Beautiful.
Oh, wow, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well done. A couple more here. One from Heather Elizabeth taking a 128 this morning from inside the house, she said. Great stuff.
Why not?
There you go. Yeah. You can be in the house and take the picture. Why not?
Yeah, it's warmer.
Yeah.
It was cold out there on New Year's Eve.
Hey, you're right, it was. And I got this from Mark Solniak here. You know, when you get up here, the northern pictures are much less impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so funny.
Nice. Okay, on top of that, I had put out a couple of posts on my page there about the crescent moon popping out, and I got a few responses from that one. So we got this one here, the crescent moon and Venus together.
Yes, sir.
Barb Glanville, Skiff Lake, she says, at 7:15, caught between the clouds, Venus at the lower right. So a lot of people are getting it caught between the clouds for sure.
Yeah.
Here's one from Jeff Pendlebury from Charlottetown at 8 o'clock before cloud cover moved in.
Yes, sir.
And Jeff,
Nice earthshine.
nice. And
Yeah.
this is from Lori LeMay.
There you
There you
go.
go. And Renee Wheeler.
Yes, sir.
Renee Wheeler, yes, it is, yeah. And Ann Driscoll. Well done, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
And I'm going to move on here to Lyndon Cormier, which had just outside of Dieppe. She says, "Thanks for always sharing these things. I wouldn't have realized what I was looking at without seeing your post." Well, there you got Saturn there as well with Venus and the moon.
Yeah.
Saturn was really tough to pick out the other night because the moon was so bright next to it for sure.
Yeah.
Saturn is about 40 times dimmer than Venus. And Venus is only the third brightest object in the sky behind the sun and the moon. So it was really difficult to pick out Saturn. Now, coming up on the 13th, though, the Mars will be eclipsed or occulted actually by the full moon. So we'll see how that one pans out. Anyway, from there, I'm going to go to some captures from 2024, Astro Imaging and Review. These are from Robert Gadet.
They had nice shots in there.
Nice shots. Yeah.
A lot of photos.
3 of them. Yeah.
Well done, Robert. Good stuff this year.
Yep.
There's another one here, Robert. A lot of nebula in there and a couple of galaxies at the
Yeah,
bottom.
galaxies and reflection, hydrogen. Beautiful.
Nicely
Nice
done.
work.
Here's the third from Robert.
Yes, sir.
Robert, you had some good. You've had some clear skies.
It looks that way.
Looks great. Good job.
Yeah,
Keep up
nice.
the work. I'm going to go from there to Joey Craswell's capture here of final image of 2024. He says 1 hour of data at 10-minute sub frames stacked in deep sky stacker. Messier 78 is a reflection nebula in the
It's a nice
constellation.
job. Sorry, Chris.
Okay, yeah. Reflection nebula in the constellation of Orion. In the left corner, you can also see a glimpse of Barnard's Loop, a gigantic arc of hot gas in the region. Images with an FRA 400 at 400 millimeter.
Wow.
EVIR cut filter processed in serial using GrayX PERT for denoise. Okay, whatever that is. I'll accept it, too. Great job.
Yeah. Nice job.
Nice done. Okay, I'm going to go from there to Kathy Adams captures here. Here's her Rosette Nebula. Last image of 2024 for her. 30-second subs, 60 gain with the Dwarf 3 EQ mode. Processed with serial and finished in Photoshop.
Oh.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Nice work.
And Kathy has shared a few of her favorites as well. Deep sky objects of 2024. So here's her captures.
Very nice.
Yes, sir.
There's some images from the total solar eclipse of April 8th, 2024 from Plaster Rock. Well
That
done.
was a non-forgettable day.
Yeah,
That was the day to end all days right there. Yeah. for sure.
indeed.
And this one as well from some lunar and Milky Way images from 2024.
Yes, sir. Beautiful.
Very nicely done.
Yep.
And final one here, I think this final one, some of my favorite skies of 2024. So of course, sunsets,
Nice guys.
beautiful aurora there as well.
Yeah.
Hold out, folks, because I think we're going to get some more aurora. I did put a post up today about a large filament that's stretched across the sun right now, 600,000 kilometers across. So
Wow.
that's
A little one.
going to be the 50 times the diameter of Earth. And it's now facing us right now. So if it happens to break off, and sunspot 3947 has been very active over the last, I'll say 48 hours with at least 3 X-class flares. So it's ready to produce another X-class flare. If that flare happens to take place, plus this filament breaks off, we're going to have quite a show. So fingers
Behind me.
I go from there. I'm going to go to a couple here from Francois Theriault because I got to include these ones. This is IC 410, the Tadpole Nebula, and IC 405, the Flaming Star Nebula in Auriga.
That's amazing.
Amazing stuff he does. Yeah, taken with a wide field telescope, I was able to capture some of the Tadpole and the Flaming Star nebulas in the same frame. The telescope was a Stellar View SV60 EDS. Camera was a ZWO ASI 1600 millimeter Pro. Exposure times total of 3.6 hours.
Wow.
Amazing. And I'm going to include his Rosette Nebula here as well, Caldwell 49 in Monticeros. He says, I bought myself a nice little Christmas present, a used Stellar View SV60 EDS, small refractor with 330 millimeter focal length for a nice wide field. It's funny, everybody starts out wide field, you get to the really close stuff, and then you all go back to wide field again.
Yeah.
purchased in mid-November, but with the postal strike in Canada, it never did get to me until January the 30th, he says.
Oh, jeez.
Since we were forecasted to have clear skies the following night, I spent most of my day tearing around, trying to find all the right dovetail parts and stuff for the scope and making parts to mount the automatic focus motor. With a couple of hours to spare, I got it all done, and I must say that the results are very promising. I still have some fine tuning to do, but the scope performs very well. I was able to capture 8 hours of data on 2 targets. My first images with the Rosette Nebula, well-known object in the constellation of Monoceros, made up of a giant gas cloud surrounding a central star cluster in GC 2244. The wind from the forming stars is pushing away the gas cloud, thus the ring structure of the object. And all those details there with the 3.9 hours.
That'd be neat to look at in stereo.
Would be, eh?
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Did
detail.
that happen for us, Lisa?
Yeah, that book, Cosmic Clouds. Check it
There you
out.
go.
Yeah, we do that.
This one here I got late today from Robert J. Mitchell Jr. He says, "Hi, Chris. The following picture was posted by Martin Bell, who is the moderator of a local Facebook group here on the South Shore in Nova Scotia. He said, I have never heard of our observed light pillars before. I thought it was interesting. So
That's
have you guys
different.
seen these before? Light pillars?
Yeah, no, that's cool.
I noticed them. I was heading to Charlotte County one day in the morning, early morning, and I looked behind me, and as sun was coming up at sunrise, I saw these pillars peeking up, and I had to stop the truck and get out and stand on the side of the highway and get a good look.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, nice. Thanks for sharing that, Robert. Okay, and I think that's about it. So if you have any photos that you'd like to share, please send them in to astronomybybay@gmail.com. As you can see, we love sharing your images, and we'll present them up on our next broadcast. So moving ahead just a little bit, all I'm going to do is have a look at a few calendars here. Lisa's familiar with this one, aren't you, Lisa?
I am.
This is Lisa's calendar of the month, and this is for January of 2025. So Lisa does a great job on these every month. I request one, and she sends it to me faithfully every month. So we have the event listed here in the first column. We have the date listed here. I shouldn't be saying this. You should be saying this, Lisa. Peak time translated for your time zone is here, and the seeing tools: naked eye, binoculars, or a telescope. And where can we find you, Lisa?
Lisa's Lookup, Astronomy and More.
There you
Facebook,
go.
Moonbeams,
And now on Blue Sky
and Threads.
and Threads.
Thank you.
And I'm going to share one more from you here. So she has this great, if you go to visit her Facebook page, you'll find this here. Check out the highlights for 2025. The link includes a downloadable copy. And I saw somebody today had downloaded it and pinned it up in their fridge. So that was awesome. So she does have a great list here of all the items, all the things that you want to watch out for in 2025. So you can find her again at Lisa's Lookup Astronomy and More. So go there and download that free copy.
As I like to say, this is the calendar of when it's going to be cloudy in New Jersey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Probably pretty close, yeah. Okay, and of course our calendar, February calendar here, presented by Kurt Mason, our local RAS expert, who puts together this 6-week calendar here. Some of the things I'm kind of looking forward to here is this one here on the 13th. The full moon is going to occult Mars between 2238 and 2338. Looking at maybe offering a live feed on that one if we do happen to have clear skies for it to offer, but we're going to have to move quite far. We get into the first quarter moon here, nearing the Pleiades, which is always a really nice sight on the 5th of February. So you can go to sjastronomy.ca. You can download that calendar right there, and put it in your favorites and go back and review it every once in a while. And I think that's all I got. So I'll stop sharing.
And keep an eye on Saturn because the rings are going to disappear. So
Absolutely, yes. That's another good one to watch for. The rings of Saturn will disappear this year. Saturn is a 30-year orbit around the sun, and each year, as we of course keeps its same 29.5-degree tilt. So when we catch up to each year, it's in a different spot. So we get a different view of the rings. This year they're going to be almost disappeared, but actually it gives us a good chance too to see the moons that are lined up along its plane, because a lot of times you can't get them as easily when the rings are tilted right.
I wonder if we were a flat Earth, would we disappear from Saturn's point of view?
I suppose we would, but you have to go to Saturn to find out, though. I'm going to go that far. You can probably look back and see if we were a flat Earth.
One of those flat Earth questions, I guess.
I'm not going to go there. This is going to get me flagged, Mike.
You're a non-believer, you.
Well,
Like the monkeys, I'm a believer.
anything else you guys want to add to the comments here before we sign off? Lisa?
I just want to say thank you to Lisa, first of all.
Yes, for coming
A
on.
wonderful presentation and opening, oh, I know it's in there, but opening our eyes for that of what you do, which is really cool because it's been around for so long, but not used for what it's being used for today. And I think there'd be a lot of people going out to the secondhand shops looking for those old bind reviewers because there's a lot of them around and people just walk by them, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm gonna go get myself a pair of those.
Thank
That's
you.
a very interesting topic. Thanks, Lisa. Okay, so that's our show for this evening. We hope you enjoyed the program tonight. Now, next week's show, one of our newest objectives is with the program is to bring on guests from other areas to showcase their efforts at astronomy outreach as well. Now, on next week's program, we're going to be introducing you to a special guest, Mark Fitkin from Bronte, Ontario. And Mark is a fellow amateur astronomer who runs a Facebook page called the Bronte Astronomer. We'll have a chat with Mark about astronomy outreach in his area of the country, so be sure to tune in next week for that.
Ooh.
So our special thanks goes out to our friend Lisa, of course, for joining us again this evening. Thank you, Lisa. It was great to have you back on the show. Great presentation. Hope you'll come back and join us again in the near future.
Thank you.
A special thanks too goes out to once again to Rosanna for another interesting Rosanna's fun fact. Thank you, Rosanna, and a special thanks to all of you who share our program with your friends and family out there. Remember too, we do love getting your photos, so send them in to astronomybythebay@gmail.com and we'll be happy to put them up on our next broadcast. So until next week, wishing all of you clear skies, happy New Year as well. And as we like to say, guys, open your eyes to view your skies and keep your scopes pointed up.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Night.
And how about we share sound this time? Here we go.